At 51% overall, splitting them up, the slider, the knuckle curve, and the changeup.
We are ready to go here in Detroit, the Rays and the Tigers. So settle in. We're glad you're with us. And here's Yandy Diaz to start it. And we are underway, 6:40 local time. Notice no Brandon Lau in there today, no Ha-Seong Kim. There is some pretty good news, though, on Kim. We're in a holding pattern on Brandon Lau. Lau, they're waiting on to see how his side progresses. Kim did take on-field batting practice today. There's Ha-Seong. And things are heading in a much better direction. I think everybody was fearing an IL stint, but it looks like that's, well, I'm knocking on Formica as we speak, but probably not going to happen, at least now.
Yeah, and you're going to be very cautious with that guy, Brandon Lau. Anything with the side, anything around the oblique in that area, you're going to be very cautious.
Montero can't get it, and Diaz on to start the night.
Hey, how many times have we talked about these little tweeners? These little tweener ground balls that it's either the pitcher or nobody is going to be able to make the play. When you think about Gleyber Torres, how far he has to come, if Montero can't get to that, it's a base hit, and that's exactly what it turns out to be.
So as a wise man once said, there goes the no-hitter. And now Jonathan Aranda up to the number 2 position in the order. For the absence of Lau, Kevin Cash, at least for tonight, and who knows moving forward, really is 2 men down, though. There are very limited options on the bench today. You lose 2 middle infielders in 2 days. Pardon the pun, but that'll hamstring you. 0-1 here to the All-Star, Jonathan Aranda.
Well, and that's where it gets a little dicey. I mean, managers don't like to play one guy down, let alone the potential for what we believe is 2 guys. I mean, that's makes his job a little tougher.
It does. There's an out at first, and there's an out at second. Yandy seemed to be pulling up a little bit there.
Yeah, and not going into a slide at all. So I don't know what Yandy was thinking. The timing of that play, if Torkelson's going to go to second, he would have already done that. And Yandy trying to just, I don't know what he was doing there. That you're thinking that he's going to try and slide. Doesn't get a good read out there from Sweeney.
Well, now there's 2 outs and nobody on, and that'll leave it for Junior Caminero. One other thing on the bench, if Lau and Kim are out, and then one of the remaining 2 guys, the catcher, that really leaves you with only one guy, Christopher Morel.
Right. And you cannot afford any other someone to pull up with a hamstring or something that would, you just don't have the personnel right now.
That's right.
That's why it's so dicey.
So it is 0-2 now to Caminero. Still holding out hope that he could end up in Atlanta for the All-Star game. And Rasmussen and Pepio and Yandy, for that matter, too. This is in that period now where the rosters have been announced, but there could be guys to fall off or injuries or whatever. So there's still a chance. 1-2. Little flare. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Junior, the Rays home run and RBI leader.
Okay.
Rays have seen Montero before, but not this season. Popped up. It's a decent amount of foul territory here. Oh, and what an attempt by Torkelson, but couldn't reach it.
Let's quickly set that Tiger defense for you. Brought to you by Racetrack. Outfield left to right, we've got Riley.
Tiger team that is really shored up defensively, too. Much better than they were even a year ago, let alone 2 years ago.
How about their starting third baseman here tonight is an all-star starter in the outfield.
Right. Junior gets locked up on that one. And that'll do it for the Rays. 1, 2, 3. Now
in his 17 starts, 12-5. That's a workable whip there at 125. And a strikeout an inning, basically, for Shane.
Colt Keith starts it off. When you say that 12-5 mark, to me, that mark has become more important than what an individual pitcher's record is.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, as a pitcher, starting pitcher, you want those wins. You want to be greedy and you want those wins. But more importantly, you want the team to win on the day that you pitch. And they do when Shane pitches.
Good-looking heater, 1-1.
And he didn't last time out, and he threw the ball very well against the Athletics. 7 strong innings, gave up 3 runs. Rays were able to tie that game, get it into extra innings, lost in extras.
One of the biggest outfields in the game. And Simpson all kind of room to roam, and there's the first out.
Well, the Rays have the perfect outfielders, as we're going to get to that right now. Let's take a look at them. The defense here for the Rays, brought to you by Racetrack, and joining Chandler.
Now Gleyber Torres. What a year he's having, going away from the Yankees and coming to Detroit. And he's had just a bang-up year at second base. Sometimes you wonder if getting away from New York can be a bit of a relief.
Well, how many times have we seen it happen? How many times have we seen guys putting up a nice career, some good years, go to New York, and all of a sudden it gets a little sideways?
Sometimes I think, too, the old Sparky Anderson line, since we're in Detroit, you want me to win, give me 9 guys in a contract here. You know, he signed a 1-year deal with these Tigers. Right. So we may not want to admit it sometimes. but he's payday, and he's earned it. One ball, one strike.
I love that addition for Shane Baz. You know, the slider had given him trouble. That was just a pitch that was not performing up to where it did a season ago. And so he's kind of junked the slider and moved to a cutter, which is basically just a harder version of it. More success, too.
3-1. He has kind of fallen back in love with that pitch. The pitch that the Pirates told him to ditch when he was in their organization. Brought it back to a degree out of necessity. That slider wasn't working.
No, it was not. It was not.
But a walk here to Gleyber Torres, who used to be really hard to walk when he was with the Yankees. This year, more walks than strikeouts.
More walks, and there were a lot of misses there, wide misses by Shane in that particular at-bat. Let's see if he can get it back on track here against McKinstry.
Part of the reason that the Tigers are so good this year are some of the younger players have really gotten better. I mean, you look at Riley Green on deck. McKinstry's hitting 285. I don't know if they expected that out of him this year. Trey Sweeney's done some good things for them, being acquired from the Dodgers. Baez working well at whatever position they put him. It's just things have laid out right for the Tigers. To their credit, full credit.
You know, and you think about Baez a season ago, in 80 games, he hit $184.
Yeah.
In 80 games. This year in 75 games, he's hitting 280. So the batting average almost a 100-point difference.
Overrun by Caballero. And 2 men aboard.
You know what? It was overrun by Caballero because he was already setting himself up for a tag attempt. A tag and throw to first. So he's getting too close to the runner and, you know, making that more of a priority than getting the baseball. I hit the mound, too, and that didn't help. You see that? It did take a little bit of a corner off the... Yeah, see, he's going to have to make a tag there. I'm not going to be able to flip it back to second base. Not going to have a whole lot of time. But, yeah, that did not see that initially. But that ball hit the mound and kicked towards the glove side of Caballero, which kind of helped him overrun it.
It's an error, and first and second for Riley Green, who really has become a centerpiece for these Tigers.
And boy, what about the series that he had against the Rays at Steinbrenner Field? That last game, game 3 of that series, it was all Riley Green.
Including a home run against Shane Baz. '97. Yeah, that's what it looked. Okay.
22 homers, 71 driven in before the break. That's a good year for a lot of guys.
Yes, it is. He had gone a little quiet on their road trip in Cleveland. And then what do you know? After they tied it up, he had the big home run in extras, and he seems to come up in the clutch for them.
Well, there's that series versus the Rays that we were just talking about. I mean, 600 on the average, a couple of home runs.
Out of play.
Oh, and you know what else he did? I remember it specifically because we broke it down during the game a couple of different times. In that final game of the series, not only did he have a big play or big game at the plate, but he took away an inning and a third's worth of, 3 of them were hits.
Yeah.
One of them was Brandon Lowry, went up and over the wall in left field in foul territory, and he robbed 3 potential extra base hits playing left field.
He's doing everything.
Yes, he did.
And Shane gets 99 past him.
Well, that's what you do. The big boys, you reach back for just a little bit more. Riley Green, not real thrilled that he went after this pitch. He said, "You've got to be kidding me." I mean, that pitch, or maybe he thinks he was going to get to it, but 99 up there above the zone, almost impossible to do. You hope to maybe foul that pitch off.
Well, he has struck out a lot this year also. But you can certainly live with that if you're the Tigers for all the production he's giving. Here's another guy that's had a terrific comeback. It's Spencer Torkelson. 20 home runs for him. After a guy that's hit 31 in a year but really tailed off and became a non-factor for a while. But he is back to being a big-time slugger again. Off to the right out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the zone with that cutter.
Yeah, top of the zone with that cutter. And, it gets some good riding action to it. It's a new pitch for Shane. And obviously he feels comfortable throwing it because basically it's taking his slider and just trying to throw it a little bit harder. You're not getting quite on the side of the baseball. So the break is obviously shortened a little bit and the velocity goes up because you've got that to play off of.
What about the fact, too, though, that it's such a new pitch that the league really hasn't seen that pitch from him yet?
No.
So I would think none of the scouting reports, or very few, are even showing up with that pitch.
Well, I think they are now. I mean, I think that this has been the 3rd or 4th start since he's kind of put that slider in his back pocket. So teams around the league know about it now, and it's not that big of a difference from the slider, but different look.
Simpson got turned the wrong direction, but plenty of room and plenty of time to get there and make the catch, and Boz works around a walk and an error behind it. Wednesday. All right, Josh Lowe will get it started for the Rays in the second. Will be followed by Mangum and Caballero against Kiner Montero. I heard a funny story about Montero. When the Tigers were going to call him up last year, his last start in AAA happened to be against Paul Skeens. So Montero gets called up to the majors as Lowe takes another one. And wouldn't you know, that was right when the Pirates called up Skeens. So his first major league start was also against Paul Skeens in Skeens' debut. Talk about being forced into the sub-headline.
Yeah.
He did not go.
Boy, you're right about that. Your major league debut, and it's like nobody outside of the family.
Right. Notice it.
Yeah. That's a little rough.
1-2 here to Lowe. Pretty good pitch there for strike 3 call.
Well, the reaction of Josh Lowe told you everything. He knew it. He followed that pitch in and just immediately turned and started walking. Well, that's what he's going to have to do. You know, Montero's a guy not going to overpower you.
One hopper from Mangum to Torkelson.
The command has to be very, very good. You know, and when it is, he can be very effective. He puts up some good outings. It's just all about pitching from out in front, really, for both of these guys. For Shane Baz and for Kiter Montero. It's important for them to be ahead in the count. And that's true of every pitcher. But we've got some numbers we can show you that it's extremely important for these two guys. And you think about how when at-bats end with the batter ahead in the count or the pitcher ahead in the count, and look at the difference in on-base percentage. That is huge. So that just tells you, even more so than most pitchers, these guys, it's very important for them to pitch out in front. Over a 300-point difference with Shane Baz and over a 360-point difference with Kiter Montero. So it is uber important that they're in those 0-1, 1-2, 0-2 counts as opposed to when they're behind, because if the at-bat ends then, it does not go well for them typically, especially Montero with an on-base percentage approaching 600.
Well, he had a really well-executed pitch there on 1-1 to get ahead, but now misses, so it goes back to even.
Back to even.
And
that tends to be right in the middle of the road too, so... Sometimes those numbers tell you something. Sometimes it's just numbers. But when you get up to where it's about a 300-point difference, and it doesn't happen very often, but when I see the 300-point difference, that's when you're like, okay, this is real important for them. This is really important for them.
Well, he's behind 3-2. We'll see if Cappy can get himself aboard. Guess not.
How about that?
Friendly call from Montero, but a frustrated Caballero is...
COVID-19 injuries kept him from playing. He said it's a pretty good, dang good birthday present there, as that one's going to be driven to the wall. Brandon and Jonathan both excited to be a part of the All-Star game. Brandon and Naranda, another key thing for them, Brandon didn't have kids the last time he made that All-Star game. Now he's got a couple of kiddos going with him. Jonathan's got a young daughter as well, so it's going to be a family affair, Andy and BA, for these two guys in Atlanta.
It's always special. And really both of them, even though, like Ryan was saying, Bilal's been there before, it's almost like they're kind of first time because Bilal couldn't play the first time. So you just hope that he is well enough to participate.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Well, and when you look at his numbers, 19 home runs, that's tied with Ketel Marte for the most home runs by a second baseman in Major League Baseball. And the 50 runs driven in, that leads all Major League Baseball second basemen. So obviously well-deserved, and we've been touting and campaigning for Jonathan Aranda, it seems like the last month and a half, 2 months. So both of those guys making it is just fantastic.
And both of them being homegrown players, too. It's a real feather in the cap to the Rays organization. I think for Aranda, too, it's a real plus for the organization showing their patience. And this is the guy, like Ryan was saying, so young when he was signed, and the development and the setbacks you get. Then you get close, he gets to the big leagues, little overmatched, the finger injury happens, but they stuck with him and truly get rewarded. And Baez just took care of Meadows.
Yeah, you know what happened right there? A curveball just disappeared right before Parker's Meadows' very eyes. That knuckle curveball is such a weapon for Baez. Watch this thing just disappear. Up there, I mean, that's up above the belt. And then it's gone. It's at your ankles.
It's one heck of a pitch. And now Trey Sweeney. Sweeney's a guy that got for Jack Flaherty when they traded him to the Dodgers last year, and then they went and re-signed Flaherty, who we're going to see, I believe it is tomorrow. The Tigers got everything ultimately in that trade, long term.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at a bit of a deeper dive. And how about here? The usage, 29%. That opponent average, just 183, 43 strikeouts on that pitch. We saw why in that previous AB, and then has not allowed a home run against it. So a big-time weapon for Shane Baz, paired nicely with that four-seam fastball at the top of the zone. Again, complementary pitches. Got a really nice arsenal between that four-seam and the knuckle curve. Those are his two most used pitches. Then you got the changeup that plays off of the fastball. And then that cutter and the slider that he's kind of, like I said, put in his back pocket.
Behind, though, 3-1.
So you've got pitches that ride. Fastball has some riding action to it. You got the curveball that's a north-south pitch. Then you've got the glove side movement pitch, which is the cutter. Then you've got the arm side movement pitch, which is the changeup. It's got it all covered.
Nothing to sit on if you're a hitter.
No, and moving in four different directions.
And that one just blew it right by him, 3-2.
Think about it. The fastball, you can ride that to the top of the zone. You got the curveball down. You got the changeup down, arm side, and you got the cutter hard to the glove side. So, got pitches moving in all directions. That's what each guy is trying to get out there. And you remember when Drew Rasmussen everything was to the glove side.
Yeah.
It was the fastball, it was the cutter, and then it was the slider. And everything. And now all of a sudden he developed that two-seamer. Oh, that changes the whole calculus.
He's got a 3-2 pitch here to Sweeney with Dingler at second. How about that thing?
Yeah. Now he goes with that. That's the cutter that you get on top of, and now you get a little depth to it. That's the slider that he's been looking for all season long, and that's a harder version of it. See that depth?
Wow.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Let's get yourself back into the count. He was 3-1. And that fastball slider, and there's two outs. And now the All-Star Javi Baez. How'd you like that Javi Baez hanging around in the number 9 spot of the order?
I thought that was, yes. There are a lot of things that I've thought about Javier Baez. Your all-star starter in the outfield is hitting in the 9 hole, yes. And his numbers, while good, 280, okay, take that average. 9 homers, 37 driven in. It's not pedestrian, but it's also, you're thinking, all-star starter worthy. However, yeah, look what he's done with the average. Well, the difference is he's handling the fastball much better, and he's handling the off-speed, which are changeups and splits. He's moved up in the box a little bit, and that has kind of changed it for him.
Oh, is that thing launched? And on 0-2, Baez gives the Tigers a 2-0 lead. Well, remember all the numbers you were saying when you're ahead in the count? Sometimes if you hang one, it makes everything disappear.
I blame the graphic. I blame that we just talked about how he had not given up a home run on the curveball, and it didn't take but a couple hitters. And there's the hanger that you're talking about. That ball stays at the belt. Hitter gets a really good look at that spin, and then with it not having the same kind of movement, gets a really good swing on it too.
What's a shame, too, is that Baez, for the good year he's having, very good year, when you get 0-2 on him, you can get him swinging at just about everything.
Oh, well, that's the first thing that I looked at. Okay, you've got a 100-point difference in batting average. And you're thinking, okay, maybe the strike zone discipline is a little bit better.
That's a fair ball hit by Keith. Low as to change direction. And Keith has a double. Third extra base hit in the inning for the Tigers.
But all that to say, you go back and you kind of peek behind the curtain and you look at some numbers and you're like, no. He's the same free swinger that he has always been. I mean, you kick up the rosin bag, he may swing at that. So he hasn't changed anything about that, but he's moved up in the box and he, he's handling the fastball and he's doing much better against the off-speed pitches. The last year he hit 202 against the heater. This year he's hit 325 against the fastball.
He's just gotten better in his early 30s. Well, here's Gleyber Torres. Speaking of a guy who's just gotten better. Gleyber drew a walk his first time up. A guy that now has 49 walks and only 42 strikeouts. It's one of my go-tos when I look at a stat page. Walks compared to strikeouts. When you have a guy that has more walks than Ks this deep into a season, you're a regular player. But that tells you you're pretty locked in. 1-1. One and two. No question. Boz's fastball looks alive tonight. Two and two. Just off the edge. And it's 3-2.
Curveball. It starts out on the plate, but the little bit of sweeping action it has takes it just off.
Full count. Torres uses his timeout. Softly hit. Cabby with a throw in time. Remember, he missed yesterday's beginning of the game with a sore arm. But he's able to make the play and keep the Tigers. Right to Torres. What do you got? All right, they can stay because year, but they ended up going with Montero as a starter, which he was doing with the Toledo Mud Hens in AAA. 3-2.
No, his last 3 outings in the big leagues were as a bulk guy.
Yeah.
But again, doing a little bit of everything.
Tigers get very creative. I mean, last year, down the stretch, they basically had one starter with bullpen at most of the rest of the days.
Oh, their bullpen has thrown the 3rd most innings in the American League this year. And a lot of that, obviously, by design. This team is also 2nd in the American League in ERA at 3.46. Their starters are 2nd in the American League in ERA at 3.32.
A.J. Hinch has his Tigers cruising in the AL Central. And Walls draws the walk. From 0-2 to a free pass.
You know what the challenge will be? And if it's a self-motivated group, then not so much. But taking the foot off the pedal, knowing that, like you said, a 13.5 game lead. And they're well aware of that. And so you've got to keep them motivated. And the motivation is going to be best record in the American League. And right now they've got a 1.5 game lead over the Astros. But if I'm A.J. Hinch, and he's a much better manager than I would ever think of being, that has to be, I think, the focus is to go for that best record. That's what will keep them motivated when they basically already have won the division.
They pretty much have. It's a historic lead for the Tigers, who are 125 years old as a franchise. This is the largest lead they've had this late in the season ever. When you're talking about a century and a quarter, it's a pretty big length of time. 1-2 to Jansen. Yeah, the rest of that, we just saw it up there, but the rest of the division is so far underwater. Cleveland has lost 10 in a row. Tigers just swept them. Tigers were down to the last strike yesterday against Cleveland.
Yeah.
And a wild pitch from Emmanuel Clase scored the tying run, and then they blew the game up in the 10th.
You were keeping us up minute by minute, up to speed on that game.
Here's a base hit by Danny Jansen. So here we go. BA, bottom of the order.
Yeah.
Getting it going.
Yeah. I'll tell you, they have been chipping in, and it's been going on for a long time. 7, 8, 9 handling their business, and now they're giving the Rays an opportunity here to chip away at this lead.
Jansen's had a really solid road trip at the plate. 2 on, the tying runs with 1 out. Here's Yandy Diaz.
See that? 2nd in the league in average with runners in scoring position. The Rays have been very, very proficient at that. And how about this? Hard hit batted balls. Our Toyota Keys, Yandy Diaz leading the way by 8 over Shohei Ohtani. That is any ball hit 95 miles an hour or harder. Consistent hard contact. That's how Yandy gets it done. The more of those that you can get airborne, that's all of a sudden, that's when, line drives, base hits, extra base hits, home runs. We've seen a little bit more of that from Yandy. 14 homers this season, already driven at 52.
Behind, though, 0-2. to right field. Not all that hard hit for McKinstry at 2 down. And that'll leave it for Aranda. Well, Montero's gone 0-2 to 3 hitters in a row. That's the first guy that he's gotten in that sequence, and now it's up to the All-Star Aranda. Yesterday when Walls hit the homer in this sort of situation, it felt like the Rays needed some sort of a jolt. They could use a base hit here and at least get on the scoreboard. 0-2, or 2-0, I should say. No count yet to Aranda. And it's 0-1. You just saw the Rays team rank. How about that? Aranda 4th in the American League, 318.
How about Montero? 9 out of 11 with first pitch strikes. That's one way to neutralize hot hitters.
Shot through the right side for a base hit. Wall's got a great break. He will score. The throw goes to third, and Jansen is out to end the inning.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Javier Baez down there at third base, he completely sandbagged Danny Jansen. Didn't give him any indication that that ball was on its way, and then made the catch and dove in for the tag.
The Rays will not challenge. They do get a run. Wall scored before Jansen was thrown out at third.
Here's the sandbagger. Great throw by McKinstry.
Wow. Rays, though, do get on the board.
Boomer is the dog. Doesn't he look good? And just follow his pitch all the way. And there he is.
And he was helped out a lot by Javier Baez, you know, the starter and the outfielder in the All-Star game, playing third base, and he was just standing there like a statue, not giving any indication that Danny Jansen, that ball was on its way. Yeah. And then he had to reach to his right, quickly catch it, dive back, and got the tag on him. It was a good job all around.
Right to Caballero for the first out.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that play and see the throw by McKinstry, which, by the way, comes out of the hand at 94.8 miles per hour. And then Javier Baez, now he's got to reach for it. And that's why he reached so dramatically, because he was just standing there like a statue. And so Danny Jansen, looking at third base, sees a third baseman with giving him no indication the ball's on its way. and then makes the play at the end to get him.
Javi Baez, I heard Joe Madden say this today on MLB Network about the instincts he has for the game. And you saw it on that play
Full
right
display.
there. Doesn't show you noticed it. I don't know if anyone else, in the ballpark did or not, but that's a key part of that play.
It is. No tip-offs. Don't let them know what's coming.
Well, the thing too, Baez, as recently as last year, was kind of dragging the Tigers down. With non-hustle, and he became a target for fans, and rightfully so. A guy that they're paying a lot for a long-term deal, and he seemed to be an impediment to them. And now, what a difference this year. He's a guy that, when he's going well and playing involved like this, he makes your team a lot better.
Well, yeah, we've seen it, watched it from afar.
That's right. Green gets into one. A lot of foul territory here in Detroit, and Aranda with a routine play. BA, I was thinking, now that the A's aren't in Oakland anymore and the Rays can't play at Tropicana Field, I'll bet Comerica Park has the most foul territory of any park in the game today.
It has to. That's a lot. By today's standard, that is a ton. And you're right. And then you think about how deep the fences used to be here.
Yeah. And they're still not shallow.
No, they've come in. 342 down the line.
Yeah.
And it wasn't much further than that. But then as it started to get out into the gaps, it was absolutely huge. And you could see they've built bullpens where the fence, where the field used to be. Yeah, that was the back fence was the actual fence.
Yeah.
And you're able to put a couple of bullpens in there now.
Well, I always thought they built the opposite Tiger Stadium. Tiger Stadium had what happened here? Oh, pitch clock violation on the pitcher, on Boz. So that'll make it 2-0 to Torkelson. But, the Tiger Stadium, the outfield, the upper deck hung over the lower deck. It was almost over the field at points. Not a lot of territory. And they built the opposite here, and it's a gorgeous place.
When I got called up to the big leagues, it was to Detroit. Didn't get to pitch in that series, but came up in Detroit. 440 to center.
Little jam shot to center. Chandler can't quite come up with it. Torkelson is going to try for second, and he's in there.
Do or die.
Yeah.
That's a do or die play by Chandler Simpson. If you get it, you're the hero and the inning's over. And if you don't, you run the risk of a potential for the extra base hit. And that's exactly what happens. Great effort. Great effort. That ball didn't get that far away from him. Thought he had a chance, but didn't get enough on the throw. See how close he got. Oh, so right there.
Well, I'm sure the league, too, knows that at this point you can run on Chandler. His throws have been getting better, but he's learning how to play outfield in the big leagues, which is not easy to do. But I'll tell you what, Kevin Cash was telling me, too, with the work that Chandler has put in, his arm has already gotten better, significantly better than what it was at the beginning of the season. And that's all you can ask for. Putting in the work and improving. All four Tiger hits for extra bases. Dingler with the double, the first of them. Baez's 0-2 home run, the Keith double, and now the Flair two-base hit for Torkelson. One and two. Well, it's an inning for Boz to throw a 0 up there after the Rays just cut the deficit in half. A ball and 2 strikes to the Tiger catcher. 2-2. And he puts him away to end the inning. So the little Flair two-base hit and nothing more for the Tigers.
gets up there and allows Meadows to get to it. He's able to barrel that ball, trying to cut it in on the hands. It didn't get there. And now if you're Shane Baz, and he's done a good job of that too, now you go for the ground ball, especially early in the count.
Well, it's a pop-up. Should get one out of it. Boy, Junior, pretty good control there to get underneath of it.
Well, and it was a pop-up because he went with the changeup. Now, that changeup, he's meaning for it to be down and away, and he wants that hitter reaching for it. Those are the ones you roll over for the 4-6-3 double play. Problem was it was up. Now, he still gets the out because it had good arm side run to it, or fade, I should say. But still, now you lock it right back here on Baez, and you start thinking about that cutter. Try to make it maybe look like a slider to Baez down and away because he's a free swinger. He'll roll you right over a 6-4-3 double play and the inning's over. That's the one thing, and we talked about that. He's doing so much better of a job this year. Obviously in the average, almost up 100 points in similar amount of games. But he hasn't really changed his hitter's profile. I mean, he still chases out of the zone at one of the highest rates in baseball. That's it. That's the one. He wants that pitch further away and a little bit further down. That's the one you roll over. Now, you got the count in your favor. You got the 2 foul balls, and that's fine. You can put him away with a strikeout or expand here. You have to expand here, though. I mean, this is a guy that, again, he will follow you right off the plate, especially in these types of counts.
Well, it was 0-2 when he hung the curve last time.
Yep. Look how far off Danny is. And that was okay. I get the point, but they're a little bit too far off the plate. But you saw where Danny was. Like, hey, expand, because Baez will too.
So now put it closer to the zone, but not necessarily in the zone.
But yeah, he's still in this count. Gets to 2-2, then that becomes where you've got to make a pitch. But right here, you can still expand.
Meadows runs.
Oh, boy.
And the Rays are going to get a double play to get out of the inning. A little fortunate circumstance there for the Rays. And they trail.
Platinum glove caliber defense against the Rays in the season series.
Something else to see a young player begin to blossom. We saw moments of it last year, but we are seeing it in full bloom this year. Florida's own Riley Green. Deserve it all-star in every way, and a big reason why the Tigers are running away with things. Lifted by Caballero to straightaway center. Parker Meadows for 1 out. Really shallow at third is Baez. And that thing will go to the wall, and he might get 3. Nope, he'll settle for 2, and a good choice for Simpson because McKinstry already has 1 assist out there today.
Yeah, well, and listen, McKinstry understands who's at the plate and what you're thinking. He's going to have to make a play to keep Chandler Simpson from getting to third base because that's what Chandler is thinking off the bat. Right there, he's like, you know what? Third base, maybe. That's where I'm headed. And so he's going to force McKinstry, and he does a great job. Watch how quickly he gets rid of this. I don't need to throw it all the way there. And we did not see how quickly he got rid of it, but trust me, he got rid of it very quickly, and that kept Chandler at second.
So the tying run in scoring position with 1 out. And here's Taylor Walls.
Watch this. He's not going to be able to step into this throw. He doesn't need to. Just get it in there. I mean, he didn't even step.
Yeah.
Just pick it up and throw it.
And then Walls is ahead 2-0. Little lazy fly ball to center field will not get the job done. Well, Simpson is tagging, however, and yet he will stay at second base. And he had a base hit his first time. He was the one caught trying to go first to third on Aranda's RBI single. Ball 1. Here we are again. Lower third, getting it done.
How about that? 32 runs driven in the last 15 games. So obviously over 2, averaging over 2 a game. And the big reason why the runners in scoring position average at 400. Now, they're not real concerned if there's nobody in scoring position. They don't do much with that. But you put a runner in scoring position and they lock it in. I think their batting average with the bases empty is around $180, $170 in that range. But boy, you put someone out there at second or third, 400.
Oh, it's an opportunity here for the Rays. Jansen feeling awfully good at the plate of late. But Baez, I don't know why I was looking at Simpson unless he forgot how many outs there were. But he throws to first. We're here at Comerica Park for this 3-game series. 2 potentially playoff-bound teams. Long way to go. As we all know, today is game number 91, so there's 71 games left after today.
I can't believe that we are at game 91. It does. It flies every season.
Sure does.
But this year in particular feels really fast.
There's just so much going on. I mean, except for years, Rays are got to be the most interesting team in the game. There's always some sort of development happening, good or bad, on the field or off. I mean, there's always something happening every day, it seems.
Yes. You're talking mostly about baseball.
Yeah.
And with me, there's a lot happening with me.
Well,
that speeds things up.
You
got a front row seat for it.
It helps get me up every day. I look forward to
story time.
Story time. You know I love story time. So the top of the Tiger order here in the 5th inning against Shane Baz.
Yeah, here's the thing. I wish I was making it up, or I wish I was even embellishing just a little bit.
But
you get this. You get the straight on. I mean, this actually happened.
Yeah. But look, it's the spice of life.
It's
never boring.
No. It is hot sauce with a little touch of habanero finish.
3-1 here to Keith.
But I really cannot believe game 91.
Yeah. Well, this will be another extra base hit for the Tigers. At least I believe. The throw by Lowe offline. Well, that's 5 doubles for the Tigers today.
Well, and you know what? You had kind of mentioned a little foreshadowing earlier. This is a huge outfield. So if you hit the ball hard and you're able to get it deep, well, there's a lot of running room, running time for you. And that ball was smoked by Keith. Josh Lowe does a great job of getting to it and cutting it off, but that's how deep he is. He's got to make a perfect throw, not quite able to do it. And another extra base hit.
It's 4 doubles plus a homer. 5 extra base hits tonight for the Tigers. All right, Kyle Snyder's visit is over. Well, the Tigers have just had. You got to come up big again.
Yeah, and you're right. And fortunate to have just given up the 2 runs so far, but degree of difficulty starts to go up here. 3rd time through, runner at second with nobody.
Gleyber Torres with a walk has now been on base 20 consecutive games.
That's now the longest active streak in Major League Baseball. Yandy Diaz had that a couple days ago.
He did. I think Yandy got to, 27?
Mm-hmm.
Bilal got it to around 23 or so. Good-looking breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Up in his eyes, and it is 1-2. And he got him to chase. Kept going up the ladder. Kept going higher and higher, and no chance to get that up there.
Well, and this is what you were talking about, making pitches in big spots because you want an unproductive out there. Torres wants to drive the run in. At minimum, get him over to third with less than 2. You punch him out, and it's an unproductive out, and now the get him over, get him in doesn't work. Now they need to get a hit. Or you start firing balls to the backstop.
That's right.
I don't see that happening.
No. 1-0. And he's behind 2 balls, no strikes. And McKinstry has plenty of protection when he hits third in the order with Riley Green and Torkelson right behind. A lot of firepower. It's a hitter's count to Zach McKinstry. In there, 2-1. Here's Green. A terror at the plate this season. All right, credit to Boz. He's come back to even it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One thing about Shane Baz, he's an unemotional pitcher. He always looks like he can just take that breath and keep things on his terms.
Stays under control, very poised.
And he got him after behind 2-0.
Boy, that was a flat-footed swing there by McKinstry. He wasn't real sure. It's a breaking ball, but it's up. Is it going to stay up above the zone? And we kind of like a panic swing. Watch. See that? And that front foot came down, and then he's like, I got to swing. Everything was disjointed.
All right, he's gotten the 2 outs with Keith Still tethered to second. And now the cleanup hitter, Riley Green. Foul away, 0-1. A little floater that gets down for a hit and will add to the Tigers' lead. Riley Green drives in his 72nd run, and it's 3-1 Detroit.
And it's not a bad pitch by Boz. That's a cutter in. What's a cutter in designed to do? You want to keep the ball off the barrel of the bat. You want soft contact. That's exactly what you got. But it's Riley Green against the Rays, so it's going to go advantage Riley Green. He just has their number this year.
So the Tigers back up to their largest lead, a 2-run lead, 3-1. And now Torkelson. Hammered to center. It's deep out there, but so is Chandler Simpson waiting for it. And the side is retired. But the Tigers, all 3 runs today coming with 2 out, and they lead 3-1. Defense has certainly helped him tonight, but he's also pitched a darn good game. Rays have had 2 men thrown out of the bases today, which in a tight game is notable. Yandy thrown out going from first to second on a reverse double play in the first inning, and then Jansen thrown out trying to go first to third on Aranda's RBI hit. 1-2. It's that part of the game, too, where you got to get something offensively or you have to go against a lot of these big strikeout pitchers, one-inning guys with tiny ERAs. And you start to run out of outs quickly. 1-2. Small deficit, though, 3-1. Even count to Yandy Diaz. Struck him out. Got Yandy off the plate there, in.
Yeah, backup. I mean, that was a backup slider. It was, the hanger gets hammered. The backup slider, especially when it's a really bad backup slider, this one, look, they want it down and away. It's in off the plate. It's so badly missed, it turns out to be a good pitch.
Yeah.
The hitter recognizes, breaking ball hanging. But it's so bad, it ends up working.
Yep, and it did. 4th strikeout for Montero, but first strikeout since the second inning. Even count to Jonathan Aranda. He's knocked in the lone run of the night for the Rays. Two and one. As we speak, we were talking about bullpens. Tigers get Tyler Holden, the lefty, up in their pen, and they can try to bullpen this rest of the way if they so choose. Hit well to center, but again, it is a gigantic ballpark, and there's out number 2. It's Tyler Holton. And you wonder if he's ready if Caminero gets on. The next batter is Josh Lowe, a left-handed hitter. But it's going to end up being a warning shot fly out by Caminero, and Montero.
Andy, I wonder if Riley Green's favorite movie is Groundhog Day, because this certainly seems familiar.
It certainly does from our standpoint, Rich. And Grant, you're right. For him, it's just probably another day's work. He's been doing that, boy, against the league. But, man, against the Rays, he is wearing Tampa Bay out. And no wonder he looks so happy. You know, the Tigers, they're playing fast and loose and easy and just free. And they're throwing to the right bases. They're making plays. They look like a first-place team.
Isn't it amazing what confidence does? There's the old '80s hairband Winger.
Oh yeah,
you have the song, "Easy Come, Easy Go."
Yeah.
There's a line in that song, and this is what it made me think about what you were just talking about with the Detroit Tigers. There's a line in that song that says, "Play the game like you've already won," and think about that. If that's the definition of playing loose and free and easy. Play the game like you've already won, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Kip Winger might be a Tiger fan because, boy, that nails exactly what these Tigers are doing. And, you know, remember 2 years ago, the Rays, when they're in that 13-0 run, they started against the Tigers. The Tigers looked so bad.
Yeah.
They looked like really one of the worst teams that the Rays had ever played. The Rays outclassed them in every way. And within a year and a half, they were a playoff team. You got to give them credit for this.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, I'm sure everyone is.
Meteoric, and you did not see it coming. I didn't see it coming. I don't think a lot of people in baseball saw it coming, but especially now to have the best record in baseball. One game better than the Dodgers, and in the American League, they're a game and a half better than the Astros. By the way, how about the Astros?
Yeah.
You know, they got off to a not-so-great start, and now just a game and a half behind the Tigers.
Astros sweeping the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. I can't imagine that's an easy thing to do, but boy, they are feeling it. See, they can turn it. There's one. Not quite in time anyway. Meadows got up the line well.
That's always tough for a pitcher, and that ball getting away from Shane Boston. I don't know if it would have made a difference if he catches it anyway, but you're running over to the bag, and this is all happening quickly. Look at Dingler. Look at the lieutenant and the angle that he took to first base. We need to show that again. Look at him trying to cut off that throw way out of the baseline. They should have called him for that.
They should have.
I mean, listen, it's one thing to lean to try to get in the way of a throw, but he knows that ball was going to be caught shallow by Aranda. So he goes way inside, a couple of feet into the grass to try to take that angle away.
If Aranda had hit him with the throw, they might have been forced to call it.
Let's hope. Look at this. Trying to take away the angle. I've never seen a guy go that, and Aranda still is able to get it around him. The good lieutenant playing dirty.
All right, well, Parker Meadows is on base with one out. And here's Trey Sweeney with then Baez on deck. Meadows, who was on base when Baez was up last time, and he was running on a pitch. Baez popped out, and Meadows doubled off. And throw back by Shane Baz. But it tells you that Tigers feel that they can run here on Baz with Meadows. There's one of those long-legged, kind of Josh Lowe type, takes those long strides. Not going. Got a beautiful change up, 0-2. I think tonight for Baz, it's been a night of one mistake. That 0-2 breaking ball to Baez. That's what's costing him right now. He's pitched fine. 1-2.
And it hasn't been easy. No. I mean, the Tigers have had him in some trouble. But then he's been able, as we were talking about, doesn't let things speed up. Very stoic, very measured, deep breath. I got to make a pitch here. And he's been able to do that.
Still ahead, 1-2. Meadows goes. It's a ball. And he's safe.
Opposing base stealers now 10 out of 10 against Shane Baz. Got a breaking ball to run on. Jansen, a good job up and out with the throw. It's a little bit low. I don't know if that would have mattered. It looked like that left foot got in. Let's see if that... Yeah, he's there.
Third stolen base of the year for Meadows. And now it's even up 2-2 to Trey Sweeney. At the top of the zone for his 7th strikeout.
Boy, sometimes you see those breaking balls that are up there don't get called. But you got to give some credit there to Stu Sherwater for staying with it. Jansen, a good job of receiving that ball, too.
All right, well, Baez is the man that hit the one mistake tonight by Baz. On an 0-2 hanging breaking ball, he hit it out for his 10th home run. Baz trying to get through 6, and then it looks like the Tigers will turn it over to their bullpen for the 7th. Popped out of play, and 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, this is you were talking about the one mistake, that hanging breaking ball in the 0-2 count.
It is 1-1 here to Baez. That's a fair ball. Junior with the long throw and a scoop by Aranda to end the inning. Beautifully done by Jonathan Aranda on the receiver.
But I'll tell you what, they've hit some balls hard here tonight. Let's take a look at our StatCast 3D powered by Google. We've seen that before.
Tyler Holton, first man out of the Tiger pen, and a look at the left-hander.
36 games on the season, 42 innings.
Sharply hit, but to Gleyber Torres for the first out.
Well, right there could have been hard hit ball number 11. That was sharply hit, but it's a ground ball right at the second baseman. That's where sometimes that statistic can be a little bit misleading. Okay, so and that's where it becomes misleading.
Yeah.
So that ball off the bat, 108.9. That's a routine ground ball to second base. So that's where hard hit and even average exit velocity can be misleading. You have to get into barrel. When you start talking about barrels, now you start talking about balls that have to be hit at least 98 miles per hour, and they have to be at a certain launch angle. And it changes based on how hard you hit it, which is why there's no formula. Look at right there, that ball 107.3 off the bat.
But it's a little one hopper to third.
To a third baseman that's playing at the cut of the grass. So completely misleading.
Is that luck, though, or is that just geometry? Or is it just defensive alignment?
Well, you can hit the ball hard. I mean, you can make solid contact as if it's a line drive, and that or a long fly ball, home run fly ball. But if it takes the angle down, it hits the ground, and that 108 off the bat becomes about 65 by the time it gets to the second baseman or shortstop or whoever it may be. So that's where some of those stats can be a little bit misleading. And we've seen that. Two back-to-back balls put in play at 107 plus that were routine ground balls.
Yeah. And with that, 2 out, nobody on. One ball, 2 strikes. Rays went down in order in the second. Oh, and there's Paul Gervais warming up. About to take over for Shane Baz.
Do the Rays have the tallest pitching staff?
They do now. And the tallest pitching coach, for that matter.
I mean, really?
And this will be a very fast inning for Tyler Holton. Comes in and gets the Rays in order. 7th inning stretch time from Detroit. It's Paul Gervais.
Good numbers here in his 4 games, covering 4 1/3 innings. The ERA just over 2.
Rays are very intrigued about what Gervais could bring them. They don't feel like he's ready for high leverage situations necessarily, but still, the Rays to within 2 runs here. Opportunity for Gervais to keep the Rays in this thing. Colt Keith, Gleyber Torres, Zach McKinstry, the new batters here for Detroit. Foul away. Well, like B.A. said, a quality start for that man, Shane Baz. With only one real mistake to bother him tonight. Outside of that, he kept the Rays in the game.
You know, and it comes, unfortunately, on a pitch that he doesn't make many mistakes with. His curveball, he has been so good with that all season long. And that one just got away from him.
Oh, was that thing launched? Colt Keith, third extra base hit of the night. A long home run, and it's 4-1 Tigers. Another one of those Tigers that is learning how to play in the big leagues after a bumpy rookie year and a long-term contract. He is working out quite well for the Tigers this season.
Well, that pitch reaching back across the plate was Danny Jansen, and when you do that, a lot of times it does not turn out well for the pitcher. One ball launched by Keith.
Quite a night for Colt Keith. This one popped up by Torres. Right to Josh Lowe for the first out. Well, Tuesday, July 22nd, the Rays will face the White Sox at Steinbrenner Field. And all fans get a Josh Lowe City Connect bobblehead presented by Orlando Health. Grab your seats today at RaysBaseball.com. Zach McKinstry, while he doesn't have a hit tonight, made one of the defensive plays of the game, throwing out Danny Jansen trying to go first to third. It stopped the Rays in their checks there in the third inning, and instead of having runners at the corners with Junior Caminero coming up, the inning was over. So McKinstry, one of the plays of the night, even though he didn't have a hit.
And that isn't that what it takes? Team effort.
That's it.
You know, you've got all facets of the game. That's something for the most part that the Rays have been so good at. You know, the offense has been versatile and dynamic at times.
There goes another one to right field. And McKinstry on the board. 5-1 Tigers.
I mean, that was almost a carbon copy of the home run by Keith. When you take a look at the replay, watch where the pitch is, the swing, and where the ball ends up. Gets pulled middle in. It's the same at bat.
Same result. Same pitch, same result.
That one was 5 feet shorter.
Just about.
But they were that similar.
Yeah. And now Riley Green, who knocked in a run his last time. Two and 0. And it's 3-0. Meantime, Tigers have their bullpen going. Right-hander Brent Hannafy, who the Rays did hit very well at Steinbrenner Field. It's not over yet. But it's a pretty big hill to climb. Down 4 in the 8th inning to the best team in the game. Rays having all kind of trouble. This is a little different situation for the bullpen tonight, already trailing, but still, those numbers don't lie.
That's Well, this road trip so far been not pretty.
Yeah, the Pen hasn't had a scoreless game yet, which we probably got a little spoiled because it seemed like they were doing that a lot.
It was about a week and a half ago, where you'd be hard-pressed to find any weakness on this team.
Yeah.
Any weakness.
They were
Offensively, they were getting it done in many, many different ways.
But that 3-2 pitch, Gervais, shuts down Green.
Could hear Green yelling from up here. Not real happy. Now, listen, he had a 3-0 count that he was working with, and Gervais is able to come all the way back and get him.
Well, as you know, the season ebbs and it flows, and there are times that it's coming easy and times where it's not. And the Rays are... I'll tell you one thing that has really changed for the Rays team. After they swept Kansas City, when they won in Kansas City, that meant that the first game of the series, the Rays had won 10 straight, 10 in a row. So they had the upper hand on every series. Since then, they've lost the last 4 opening games of series if they don't come back tonight. Gervais finishes strong. The Rays down 4. To Brennan Hannafy.
Let's take a look at some season numbers here in 37 games. ERA of 3.64, managing that whip quite well. That's 1.40, so it does give up some base runners, but able to keep the ERA under control. 28 strikeouts, 10 walks. Like you said, the Rays had some success against him at Steinbrenner Field, so maybe they can start to try and put something together now, but they're running out of time.
Yes, they are. Down to the last 6 outs. Chandler Simpson comes up. Simpson was not yet recalled by the Rays when they faced the Tigers. Rays did win 2 of 3 against Detroit a couple of weeks ago in Tampa. And quickly 0-2.
How about that movement on that fastball? 94-95 the first 2 pitches. A ton of arm side run. That is his forte. We saw his mix, that 2-seam fastball, using it over 60% of the time.
Spoiled foul.
Well, that's one thing that Chandler's done a great job of. We had that graphic up a little bit earlier tonight, how he had not struck out in his last, 40-plus plate appearances at this point. Now down on the count 0-2. See if he can find a way to put that ball in play. Get aboard.
1-2.
It's one thing he does a really good job of. That's not a fluke. He may not have many stretches like that in his career, but that's not fluky. That's what he does. He doesn't take big swings. He tries to put the ball in play, just slap it around. He knows his speed is his greatest asset, so just put the ball in play. Jake Mangum, very similar in that sense.
Little flare on a 2-hit night for Chandler Simpson.
There you go.
11-game hitting streak, I might add, for Chandler.
Got to start somewhere, Andy.
That's it.
Down 0-2, gets it back to even, and then gets a pitch in the middle of the plate.
Especially with Lau out, and we don't know for how long, makes you wonder if they might put Chandler up in the lineup a little bit. Maybe even hit a leadoff. He hit a lot of leadoff, of course, in the minor leagues because he is a guy that gets things going.
Well, you are taking a big power bat out of the lineup, so you're going to have to be a little bit more versatile offensively. No question about that.
Well, since Walls hit the homer yesterday, his last 5 or 6 outs have been looking a lot like that. It makes me wonder if he's trying to launch.
That's what you always wonder, and you're so right about that, because when Taylor had gone on that extended stretch where he was swinging to that well, hitting 320 in that range, it was a lot of line drives and ground balls and finding holes, similar to Mangum and Simpson, that kind of approach. But you're right. All of a sudden, you hit that home run and maybe those eyes get...
Those are fun.
Yes, they are. That's one of the things we were talking about with Jonathan Aranda, and just how consistent he has been with his approach at the plate. He has not gotten greedy. Even in his hot stretches, he doesn't change his swing.
No.
He doesn't change the way that he's trying to work a pitcher. His pull power is his power is to the pull side, but he will use the whole field. And so he has stayed with that, stayed through the middle, keep the front hip closed. And he's another guy that's got a 2-strike approach.
Yandy Diaz, a master at that.
Yeah.
His approach always consistent.
That's why you saw so many teams early in the year, because Yandy likes to let the fastball travel deep. Likes to let that pitch get deep because he can go up the middle the other way with the best of them.
Yeah.
And then by letting that pitch get deep, it allows him to handle the off-speed and breaking pitches a little bit better because he's able to wait on that fastball, and so that puts him on time with the off-speed stuff, which he can pull for power. In the beginning of the season, a lot of teams were pitching him fastball in. And that's a pitch you can't let get deep.
No.
If you let the fastball in get deep, it eats you up. And they were having some success with that pitch against him. And then for whatever reason, they kind of moved away from it. Started going back out away, and that plays right into Yandy's hands.
You bet. 1-2 to Jansen.
I don't think anymore that guys are as comfortable pitching in as they used to.
Yeah.
You don't have to. With all of the spin and my stuff against your swing path, it just becomes a formula. You throw these 2 pitches to these 2 spots, and this guy's going to be an out if you get him there. And so there's not a lot of guys that pitch in, number one, and that, number two, probably feel comfortable pitching in.
Well, because isn't the...
Especially right-handers on right-handers or lefties on lefties. You think about the right-handers that are just all about spin and velocity. Yeah. They don't feel comfortable going in there because they're not command guys. So they're a little reticent to fire that ball in there. And Yandy's smart enough to know that.
Sure.
So he's going to go with his approach and not deviate.
The margin, too. You make a mistake in, kaboom.
Yes. Either you drill a guy or you're right. That ball gets pulled a little bit. Now it's middle and the guy's turning on. So there's a lot. There's an art to pitching in and pitching in properly. And not a lot of guys, have worked on that. Now, if they went out there in the offseason and said, I want to learn how to pitch, they'll be able to do that. But a lot of them don't because it's all spin and break.
Jansen finally goes down on the high heater from Hannafy for 2 men away. Well, now here is Yandy Diaz. 97 here from Hannafy.
Yeah, just overpowered him through the top of the zone. Trying to be short to that baseball and not quite able to get to it.
No chance here for the catcher Dingler. 0-1. Rays down to the last 4 outs. Tigers have Will Vest, who often closes games for them. It's not a safe situation, though. They use Tommy Kahnle in late relief. They've got Vest. They've got so many options. When we were talking about how the Tigers at the beginning of 23 were so bad, they really weren't that great in the first half last year. I mean, it's been about a calendar year that they've been this good, but they turned it around midway last season. 0-1 here to Yandy Diaz. Simpson back to first. What do you think about running with a guy like Chandler when you're behind?
Well, I mean, again, if you like the matchup, yes, trying to make something happen, I don't mind that at all. But I know a lot of teams do, and it depends on how far you're behind. You know, a run or two, I'd be more apt to do it. If it's a big deficit, there's no upside to it. Even if you create something, you're down 4.
Like a 5-1 here, there's no real point.
No. It's 2-1, 3-1, absolutely. Yeah. But 5-1, no, you're going to have to put together more than that stolen base, and it's not worth the risk unless it's just a matchup where they have no chance to get you.
And the Rays will be down to the last 3 outs. Tiger pitching, doing their thing tonight, and they lead. Be watching that for sure. A week from tomorrow. Last of the 8th here. Rays down 5-1 to the team with the best record in the game. Tigers looking to win 4 in a row. You know, they haven't lost more than 3 in a row at any point this year. They're just having one of those incredible seasons. I think they opened a lot of eyes when they blew through the Astros last season in the first round, or the wild card round. They are a tough matchup. When you have an ace like they have in Tarek Skubal, and now they've got Casey Mize to match up with him, they would be no picnic in a short series where you know Skubal could pitch twice and Mize at minimum once. And they've got Flaherty and they've got other guys. 0-2 the count to Dingler. 1-2. That's Flaherty on the right of your screen. We'll see him tomorrow. That's Skubal in the middle. Wonder if he's going to start the All-Star game. I believe last year Corbin Burns started it and Skubal came in right after. I would think Skubal's got a pretty good chance to start the All-Star game this year. Gervais fans, Dingler, 3rd straight strikeout for Paul Gervais.
Well, there was nothing fancy about this. I mean, this is Gervais just saying, I'm going to take this fastball and put it right out over the plate.
One out, nobody on. Here's Parker Meadows. Oh, and 2. Well, you got Gervais, who's 6'10", BA, but he's not quite an over-the-top guy. How would you describe, like, his arm angle? You know, it's not a short armor, but
no, there's a lot of, just watch all the moving parts. I mean, you got the leg kick, the arm comes out. You know, he does stay pretty linear for a guy that's 6'10". Oh boy!
Oh, couldn't get it. Oh, look out!
That dude's not good.
The man needs help. He is stuck.
Oh my goodness.
Around there, and all of that had him thrown over the turnbuckle. Boy, and then he was stuck.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of scary, to be honest. That's Aaron Scott. Junior says he's all right. A 21-year-old, 22-year-old back can deal with that. A few more decades and you'd you might have not been able to get up at all. Good thing Junior seems to be okay. That's the thing, though. When you shift with a left-hand batter up, and you got a lot of foul territory, third baseman needs range. And he just about got there. 0-2 the count to Meadows. But a lot of moving parts except for Gervais. I often think of Jeff Neiman, who was 6'9" for the Rays and would come over the top, and the hitters would say it looks like he's throwing from the top of Tropicana Field down. Yeah. I don't know, does he have that kind of reach, you know, at the apex of his delivery?
Not really.
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Driven towards right center and chased down by Josh Lowe. Well, you can catch a Rays game at Steinbrenner Field. Rays will be back after the All-Star break, and you can find out by viewing the full schedule and purchasing your tickets at RaysBaseball.com. The 2025 regular season is presented by Orlando Health. Now Trey Sweeney. Well, if you're looking for silver linings, even if the Rays go down here, only having to use one man out of the bullpen helps reset everybody. With the Rays having to play 7 more in a row without an off day until the All-Star break. 1 ball, 1 strike here to Sweeney. Rays in the 9th will have Aranda, Caminero, and Josh Lowe, and they need base runners. Like Caminero still working out the kinks a little bit, but seems to be all right. That's second there tonight. Just missed 3-1. Ball four. Gervais walks his first batter of the night.
On, and now lead at 5-1.
Well, they're in full control. They have Will Vest in there in the ninth. Just game one of this three-game series, and the Rays have 4 in a row in Boston to end the pre-All-Star break portion of the season. Can't expect a whole lot of help against the Red Sox here while the Rays are playing the Tigers, because it's the Rockies at Fenway Park. And the Red Sox lead 5-1 in the 6th inning. This will do it for the Tigers here in the 8th inning, and last chance coming for the Rays, trailing by.
In his 40 innings of work, 44 strikeouts up against those 11 walks. And this is the mix. Leans on that four-seam fastball, 96 miles per hour, slider, mix in the two-seam. Occasional change.
The hits tonight for the Rays, 2 for Chandler Simpson, 1 for Danny Jansen, 1 for Yandy Diaz, and 1 for this man, Aranda. Rays need at minimum 3 base runners here to get a chance to get the tying run up. And you look around the division too, and you see Blue Jays leading the White Sox, the Red Sox leading the Rockies. Rays have to play the Tigers. Could be a tough early part of the week for the Rays. Yankees off today. 1-2, the count here to Aranda. One out here in the ninth.
Well, there's that occasional changeup. He only uses it 7% of the time. But he got Jonathan Aranda into account with some hard stuff. And then look at the finish on that change.
Good to see Caminero batting here, especially after taking that tumble last inning. Well, tomorrow we've got game 2 of the series. Ryan Pepio and Jack Flaherty. The Rays beat up Flaherty at Steinbrenner Field. And then the question becomes, too, as Best flags this one, question 2 will be if Ha-Sung Kim is available tomorrow. So on-field batting practice. Hopefully that calf is doing better. For Brandon Lau, maybe a long shot to start tomorrow, but hopefully he's doing all right, too. Last chance for the Rays. Here's Josh Lowe. There's Ha-Sung. Good to see if he can play tomorrow for game 2. So everybody standing here around Comerica Park, they have fallen in love once again with the best team in the game, the Detroit Tigers. 2-1, the count to Low. Montero would be the winning pitcher over Shane Baz, if it holds. Three and one. Down the left field line. Green can't make the play. It's one of the only plays he hasn't been able to make.
Only because of the netting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, think about that. He might have been able to lean in without the netting.
He probably would have dove in and caught it. It's the way it's been going for Riley Green against the Rays this year.
Out of play once more. Well, 5 of the last 6 Rays games have been decided in the last at-bat. This one, though, tonight, the Tigers have had well in hand. Fouled again to Michael Johns at first. Three-two pitch. And the Rays still have a heartbeat tonight. Fine job by Josh Lowe. He's on. And that'll give another chance for Jake Mangum.
Yeah, close pitch there, and Josh able to lay off of it, trying to go up and away. He's in swing mode, and that's a good take. Earned that walk.
And now they need 2 more like it to get the tying run up. One and one here to Mangum. One and two. That little fella's never seen the Tigers not be the best team in baseball. 1-2 the count. Fouled away. Little squib to who else? Riley Green to end the game. The Detroit Tigers looking every bit the part of the best team in baseball with a victory tonight. Have squared the season series to 2 games apiece between the Rays and the Tigers as they win Game 1 by the final score of 5-1.
Yeah, the Detroit Tigers in complete control of this ball game, and it started back in the second inning. Let's make that our Chevy play of the game, and unfortunately, this would be it, an 0-2.